Down and showdown in Moscow, thousands of miles from the beaches of California, home of the boys of summer, the U.S. volleyball team. Tonight, they reach for the gold one more time. They won it in their hometown Los Angeles in 1984, and they're looking to reconfirm their rank as #1 in the world. 5 of the 6 best teams started in this star-studded field, and now the U.S. has only one more opponent, the Soviets. Different from the boys of summer, hungry for the gold. They bring height and muscle to the court. Tonight, a confrontation of the volleyball superpowers.
Network Television proudly presents the 1986 Goodwill Games from Moscow and from Madrid. And now, here is the host of the 1986 Goodwill Games from Moscow, Bob Neal.
Welcome to our primetime coverage of the Goodwill Games 1986, Day 15. On primetime tonight, that confrontation between the U.S. and the Soviet Union in volleyball. They've been waiting for it for a long time. We'll also be finally covering the Moto Ball match. Marianne Laughlin had an opportunity today to go to Izmailova and visit the weightlifting venue.
Yes, that's right, Bob. I'll have an interview this evening in our primetime coverage with John Bergman, the super heavyweight U.S. weightlifter, who has some interesting things to say about the difference in competition between the East and West teams, and some revealing comments on the use of growth drugs in weightlifting. The U.S. team has got a tough battle against the Soviets.
And we'll be covering that tomorrow on our daytime presentation of the final day of the Goodwill Games, weightlifting from Izmailova. Coming up in just a moment, the U.S., the Soviet Union, volleyball. We'll be right back.
Superpowers in men's international volleyball are about to compete and prove who's #1 for 1986. The Savine Cup and the Goodwill Games gold medal are at stake. And every year, the Soviet Union awards to the premier team of the Savine Cup tournament the prestigious Savine Cup award. Tonight, the match is between the Soviet Union and the USA. And Mike O'Hara, these two teams, identical teams, met not just 8 months ago. The United States prevailed, but it went to a grueling 5-game match.
In fact, the match lasted 3 hours and 45 minutes, and it was outright war. Great teams playing here at home. The Russians are very tough to beat at home. They've only lost one Savine Cup, and that was in 1984 to the Cubans. And the United States has only placed second in this cup and normally take 4th, 5th, or 6th. So we have home court advantage. The Soviets, the second best team in the world. The United States, the best team in the world. Should be a lot of fun.
I think we have some great competition coming up. It's the USA against the Soviet Union.
What do you mean? How did they start the game?
Doug Partee serving for the USA and getting it right back for the Soviet Union.
Antonov, one of the great players on the all-world team in 1985 in Japan. Also named the best server in the world. Steve Timmons off the block. Nice pass.
Steve Timmons, the redhead.
Dusty Dvorak going to him quickly.
Dave Saunders serving. Karch Karai setting. Pat Powers lobs it over, off the block. Point for the USA.
United States in business. The whistles mean booze. Local crowd definitely for the Soviet Union.
Dave Saunders with a little too much adrenaline serves it out of bounds. Side out for the Soviet Union. Alexander Savin, #3, will serve. Pat Powers goes into the block. Point.
The United States always likes to set a lot the quick plays in the center to establish that and to make those blockers stay honest so they can't get out on the outside people. So everything works. That time not successful.
Dvorak goes to Timmons, who tips it effectively.
And Chinko Big boy, 6'6" went for the ball, couldn't negotiate it, couldn't control his body.
Vilde.
The old master, Zaitsev, setting that ball, number 2. He's been the leader of his country's team for the last decade and a half. Watch him, he's still tough at 34.
Dusty Dvorak getting in a blocking battle with Vilde. Timmons hits into a block. Kirai and Dvorak are ineffective with the block. Here comes Kirai. Vilde goes up. Timmons and Dvorak get a piece of it. Point, Soviet Union.
And that's what the big red machine does best. They have that big, mean block, and they are reaching over that net every time.
Steve Timmons, with the bandage on his hand, had a couple of stitches put in his hand after a beach game. So he's got quite a large hole where his fingers join his palm. Pat Powers hits into the block. It goes out of bounds, side out.
Pat Powers from the back row hitting off that 10-foot line. He does that really well. He and Steve Timmons, two of the best hitters in the world from the backcourt. That's the play the United States practices and practices, and that is transition. Getting that ball in defense, getting it back up, the quick set, hitter up in the air, ready to hit. Doug Partee, very sound.
Tarakala dinks it over. Got out.
Nice change of pace. Tarakala sees the big wall up there, just takes a lot off of it, taps it over.
USA beckons for a floor wipe. They receive it. If this is your first exposure to international volleyball, it is a best-of-5 match. 15 points constitutes the game. If you win 3 games, you win the match. Neither the United States or the Soviet Union has lost a match yet in Goodwill Games competition. Into the block. The block sent it out of bounds. The United States will get a chance to put some score on the board.
The United States averaging 6'4" per man. Soviet Union a little over 6'5".
Savin from the back court softly tips it off the block. Side out.
Alexander Savin, for years, has led his team in the spiking position. Doesn't hit hard, just tucks the ball in, uses that block.
Raymond Vilde serving. We're tied at 2. Dave Saunders from out of bounds hits it. And it's too long. Point for the Soviet Union.
Dave Saunders, one of the 2 passers, Karch Karai and Saunders, and they'll go to Saunders more times than not. Karch, the best passer in the world.
Timmons with the lob. They say it is out of bounds. Point, Soviet Union. Reserve. The ball was tied up at the net. No point awarded. No side out awarded. Raymond Vilde will serve again. Dvorak dumps it over for the side out.
That's Dvorak, great confidence. Says, I'll try another dump. First one didn't work. Let's try it again. We broke even on the first one. The best setter in the world, pure setter. Zaitsev, an old wily setter, also one of the best.
Kirai to Dvorak. Going over to Powers. Nice up by Antonov. To Rocklet. Powers. Zaitsev taking it himself. Here comes Dave Saunders. Off the block. No, side out.
Dave Saunders had the line, just missed it.
The 34-year-old setter is serving. And he serves it out of bounds, side out.
Good eye on Dave Saunders' part. He and Karch Karai are splitting up the court 50-50, and they're doing all the passing for the team.
Doug Partee serving. Zaitsev Goes to Antonov, the USA answers. Powers brushes it off the block. 3-4.
Both teams playing at a high level on that net. Both trying to gain control of it.
Davin with the roundhouse.
As he moved that ball around well. Here he is, kind of the hook shot, and it worked.
4-3. Dvorak going all the way over to Powers. Cuts a nice angle on it, side out.
Pat Powers, one of, if not the best pure hitter in the world, extends, cuts cross court. Beautiful play.
Nice up by Timmons. Illegal hit call by Timmons. I guess it wasn't so nice. Our referee is from Turkey. This is Haluk Tungay. Our second referee is from Japan.
He felt that Doug Partee held onto that ball too long in making the pass.
Powers. It's still good. Dvorak going to Karai.
Zaitsev, nice dive.
That's out.
Antonov trying for that sharp angle with the left hand, just missing. Teams feeling one another out. Great serve by Pat Powers. He gets an overset. Karai was ready.
Good timing on the block. Karai's number 15. And watch Pat Powers when he serves. He'll hold the ball up in front of him, wave his fingers at it like he's putting a spell on the serve, and then sends it over. Bilde with a roundhouse.
Whips it in there before Powers can get back into the court. Quick arm. Both he and Savin, the other middle blocker, are very adroit at that play.
Antonov, called the best server in the world. Lob into the hole.
Nobody home.
5-4.
Great pass.
Karai. Zaitsev passing to anyone at this point. That was Dvorak. Zaitsev short setting Bilde.
1-2, the old master, Zaitsev, controlling that ball. Got a piece of it on the block, recovered, bump set, then comes up with a short play. Beautifully done.
8,400 at Lenin Central Stadium, smaller arena. 6 serving forward. Pat Powers.
The bazooka.
Number 13.
Powers.
Steve Timmons. He'll serve number 6. Zaitsev catches the USA sleeping.
The wily Fox. That'll give him something to think about. Again, that defense has got to worry now about the dump shot. Zaitsev.
Dvorak serving. Karai. It's still good. Timmons. Still good. Penchenko. And that's out of play off Pat Powers' forearm.
Super defense on both sides. Soviet really hitting that ball well.
And Mark Dumphy elects to take a timeout. Our score, Soviet Union 7, USA 4.
16th and final day of coverage of the Goodwill Games 1986, and we're going to close out with a bang. We have a night and a day of wall-to-wall action for you, including on our primetime programming. the U.S. and Soviet World Championship basketball game from Spain. That should certainly be something to see. We'll also have coverage of judo. We'll have a gymnastics exhibition and be covering weightlifting. Earlier today, Marianne Laughlin spoke with John Bergman, a super heavyweight wrestler for the United States, about the weightlifting competition and international competition. Here's that interview.
John, tell us what the difference is these days with the Western teams competing against the Eastern teams. It seems the East has really been making so many inroads in the last couple of years. What have they done that perhaps we need to do?
Right, they really are fantastic lifters, and you'll see the best in the world right here today and tomorrow also. They have a different system over here entirely in ours. In our country, it's more or less a hobby. In this country, it's a national pastime, and the lifters are able to get together on a frequent basis and train. And let me tell you, I've seen a lot of things here that I've learned a lot about training methods and such, that they are ahead of us.
Give us an example of one. What is it that makes a very good lifter? What's something new you've learned?
One must be very strong, not just technique. Okay, in America, I believe that we're adequate technicians. We've got the technique. It's building our basic strength, and that's where the training methods comes in. And I've been taking notes here.
Are the Soviets that much better than we are right now, or do we have a good shot against them?
Well, in the near future, I feel we do have a good shot. I think the '88 Olympics will be a really good chance to see that, and the Goodwill Games is a good step on the way.
Mm-hmm. How important is it to have international competition such as the Goodwill Games as far as improving your performance?
Oh, the best. You can't put it in words. This is where it's at, international competition, to bring the best in the world together to compete. That's what it's all about.
Okay, let me ask you real quick what you're wearing all over your chest. This is something that we have seen here in Moscow that is very big with the Soviets, the collection of buttons. So tell me what you got here.
Right, I've been training pins all day, all the whole time I've been here. This is a champion of Moscow pin. This is 1968 Olympics, Mexico. This is our sponsor, Mack Truck, little doggy. This is the Games pin, the Goodwill Games pin, in Russian. And this is the Moscow Games pin, kind of like a sports festival. And this is the 1980 Olympic pin with the bear.
Wish you had been here then?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. One last quick thing. If you had something to say about the people you've met since you've been in Moscow and the experience of the Goodwill Games, what would you say?
Fantastic. This is the greatest. You can't just describe it. You have to be here. This is the greatest thing that's ever happened.
Interesting interview, Marianne Laughlin, and I know that you covered some other topics as well.
We talked for quite some time, Bob, and one of the things that has been, of course, controversial in all international sports competition of late is the possibility that some athletes are using steroids or some kind of drugs to enhance their performance. And John assured me that he did not believe it was a problem. He said these days the testing is so accurate that he thinks anyone would be disqualified. They would be caught, and they would be eliminated from competition. So we look forward to seeing our U.S. weightlifting team tomorrow. They got a tough bunch of Soviets to go against, but they're confident.
Great, thank you. That was an interesting interview. We'll be checking with Marianne Laughlin tomorrow at closing ceremonies. I'll see you then. Get a good evening of rest, and we'll be back to rejoin the U.S.-Soviet volleyball confrontation right after this.
Return with more Turner Network Television Goodwill Games coverage after this.
In Goodwill Games competition, their road to this gold medal championship.
Been a fairly easy road. They beat Bulgaria 3-0. They beat Japan 3-0. They beat Czechoslovakia 3-0, and then they lost the first game to the French, and then went on to win the next three.
Conversely, for the Soviet Union, the road to the gold has shown a victory over Brazil, Poland, and France. So notice that the France and Japan scores 3-2. So the Soviets have been challenged in these Goodwill Games, which is also the Savine Cup.
In talking to the U.S. coaches, they felt that the longer this match goes, the better chance their American team will have because they're in tremendous condition.
And this game is tied, 8-8.
Simmons blocking well up there.
Sirakala dinks it over. Beautiful dive by Dvorak. Kirai goes up and through the block. Point USA, and they have the lead.
Kirai named the best individual player in the 1985 World Cup, #1 in the world.
Off the block. Kirai can't dive to it fast enough.
While Karch grew up on the beaches of Santa Barbara, his father was an Hungarian junior Olympic player, and he named his son Karch, which in Hungarian means king, and Karch is indeed the king of volleyball right now.
His dad taught Karch how to play at age 6, so Karch has had a long history in this game.
25 years old. Good wipe shot. And here's the man that's been making the points for him on the serve, Pat Powers.
With the whammy on the serve. 6 feet 5 inches tall.
Trouble.
The rocklet is answered by Partey, but it deflects out of bounds, shot out to the Soviet Union. Substitution for the Soviets coming into the game is #4, Igor Runov. Coming out, Vyacheslav Zaitsev. Runov, 6 feet 8 inches tall.
That time the set was out wide and the block did not cover the center of the court. That's where they went.
8 serving 9. Antonov serving. And he serves long.
Dave Saunders and Karch Kirai passing the ball well, letting it go out when it goes out.
Substitution for the Soviet Union, Valery Losev coming in. He's coming in as the setter.
He's been awfully good for him in previous matches. Quick feet.
Dusty calling for it. Pat Powers takes it from behind the line. And that one goes out of bounds.
Dusty Dvorak looks like he's going to take a shot at it. Pretty hit by Pat Powers on a tough set.
10-8 USA. Timmons getting a piece of it. Saunders setting from the corner. And Karch Kirai puts it away for the point.
Great set by Dave Saunders, and Karch is ready.
The Soviets take a timeout. Our score 11-8. The USA is on top. Showing a 3-point lead over the Soviet Union in the gold medal game.
The United States were down 5-8, and all of a sudden 6 biggies right fast.
11 serving 8. Steve Timmons putting it over the net.
Second option works.
Sorokalit gets it back.
Timeout effective for the Soviets. Coach Parshin real happy with that.
Service is long. Side out USA.
Coach Parshin not happy with that at all. Listen to the boo birds come out.
From a smile to a frown. Kirai jump serving. A bullet.
Great serve.
Panchenko is stopped. Point for USA.
With that good serve, the pass was not too well done, and therefore the 3-man block could get up there and jump on that Panchenko, and they were effective.
Substitution. Coming out is Panchenko. Coming in, Yuri Sapega.
And Sapega, another player that's come off the bench and helped them many times through this tournament.
Say the Soviet coach isn't pulling any punches. You make a mistake, you're substituted out.
It's not working, though. And Karch Kirai on the jump serve is very effective.
I think you make 2 mistakes, a one-way ticket to Siberia. Karch Kirai puts the team up now by 5 points. 6 points, 14-8. The USA is on the verge of closing the door on game #1.
Back-to-back aces by Karch Kirai.
Tell me his heart isn't pounding as hard as he's bouncing that volleyball. He lobs it for an off-speed attack. Vilde gets blocked by Partey. Here comes Sapega off the bench. He lobs it. Karch will set behind to Timmons. Who gets game point.
Rooney. Timmons down, and the U.S. wins the first game 15-8. Great comeback by the United States. They were down, they were troubled, and all of a sudden, Saunders and Kirai start passing that ball. The attack starts getting exciting, and the United States just went sailing home.
There you see, there are a lot of Americans here in Moscow. The Americans hold a 1-0 lead. Game 2 coming up.
We'll rejoin the volleyball competition shortly. A sport that's taken the Goodwill games by storm has been Moto Ball. Very interesting, unusual, a little bit weird sport. We have the perfect person to cover it in Skip Carey. He's been hanging out with the Moto Ballers for about 10 days now. And last week, Skip had an opportunity to actually do the play-by-play broadcast of a Moto Ball game. It is a version, very simply put, of motorized soccer on motorcycles. So let's go now to the Moscow suburb of Vidnoye and Skip Carey.
Well, it's late on a Sunday morning this July day in Moscow. At home, what would you be doing on a Sunday morning? Bacon and eggs, read the paper, skim the funnies with the kids, pore over the sports page, then grab the old lady and the kiddies and throw them in the car and head out to Anaheim or Wrigley Field or Shea Stadium or Atlanta Fulton County Stadium and go to a ball game, right? People are pretty much the same all over. This isn't a political statement here from the States. This is a sign that indicates that we're leaving the city of Moscow. Now, why would a bunch of Americans be leaving the city of Moscow, not headed toward the airport? Only one reason, baby. Right down that road, Moto Ball. Okay, you moto mavens, here we are, ready for action just outside of Moscow. One difference between sports in the U.S. and over here, that's not your typical Andy Frain usher you see in the background. Police play that role here in the USSR, just like ushers do back in our country. We're in Vidnoye, where the Russian national championship has been won by the local team 5 of the last 7 years, and where today the European All-Stars and the USSR national team will meet in combat. Let's head through the gates and see what's what, shall we? Talking about that Sunday afternoon at Shea Stadium or Comiskey Park or White Sox Park or wherever. Here it's just like that. All the writers and photographers sort of hanging around the batting cage. Only in this case, it's the soccer Moto Ball goal. Getting ready for another day of Moto Ball. Some of these guys don't shoot so good. They're trying to bomb us, so you look and I'm going to get the heck out of the way. Seriously, the press and media coverage of Moto Ball has been outstanding. Moto Ball is really a big sport over in Eastern Europe, and especially here in the Soviet Union, they love their Moto Ball. The European team takes to the field on a gloomy Sunday afternoon in Vidnoye, and the crowd gives them an ovation. And they're followed by the Soviet national team. Here they come. They played a few days ago, and the Soviets won 5-2 in the first exhibition. Big crowd on hand. They're ready to go. And so are we. Let's look at a little Moto Ball, shall we? The Soviets put it in play first and go right to work. Their shot is deflected away, and that's the way the game begins. The Soviets, a very cocky crew after the win in the first game, and playing on an asphalt surface is right up their alley. They don't have those in the rest of Europe, only in the Soviet Union. Actually, it's more of a blacktop surface I would get. So the Soviets are on the attack. The Soviets, as you might imagine, are clad in red. The European All-Stars in the white and yellow. Not much happening at the moment, but that's about to change. There's a mistake by the Soviets. George Becker made the play, and he's going to pass it to Heinz Essig, and what a shot he makes, and the Europeans have a 1-0 lead. Essig got the goal from Becker, and there's the Moto Ball equivalent of a high five. We'll look at that play again from a couple of different angles. Look how the ball is bouncing, and despite that, he makes a perfect shot, and he needed to because the goalie, Danilin, was in good position. One more time. So it's a 1-0 lead. Those are the officials and linesmen who are freezing to death in the white shorts. The Soviets put it into play. Number 5 on the Soviet team is a fellow named Sergey Chomsky. And I'll tell you what, he's a good one. Good ball control. And Chomsky drills one home. He beat Ralph Sush with a low shot in the corner, as you see. He's the best we saw, this Chomsky. They really like him. Another look at it. There he sails by the defense. Now, if he crosses that line, gets into the crease, it's a penalty shot at the other end, but he was able to slam on the brakes in time. And we'll look at it up close and personal as Chomsky boots home the tying goal. So Europe will put the ball into play, and this match started out with a boom. Edwin Mers quickly scores a goal, and the European team has a 2-1 lead. You can see they're very happy about that. And the Soviets a little shook up. They thought it would be easier than it turned out to be. The Europeans still jazzing around. Here's another look at the shot by Mers that just beat Danilin. He thought he was going to get to that ball. He's upset that he did not. And we'll look at it one more time. So the Europeans led it 2-1, and the Soviets put the ball in play at midfield. And again, it's going to be Sergey Chomsky who gets things done and ties it at 2-2. Looked like Sush, the European goalie. There's a little wheelie from Chomsky. Sush might have been screened on this ball. He didn't react at all, and that ties the match at 2-2. Well, the goalies have had a busy time this afternoon. Let's talk with one. Soviet goalie Valery Ionov. You have a very difficult job. Is it scary? Does it bother you at all when those guys on those motorcycles come sailing at you at 50 miles an hour?
Of course, Motoball is a very difficult sport. Because of the motorcycles, the action is very fast, unlike soccer. It's tough on the goalie in Motoball.
I'd say it's tough on the goalie in Motoball. Skip Carey's having himself a grand time. He's already into criticizing the game. I can't wait to hear his next segment. We'll have more Motoball coming along in just a moment, and we'll also be rejoining the U.S.-Soviet Union volleyball game right after this word.
Score, the Soviet Union has Antonov Sarakolat behind the line. He is going to serve. Sarakolat 6 feet 4 inches tall. This is game number 2. In game number 1, the USA won 15-8. And it's a tougher battle now in game number 2 as we watch Steve Timmons go behind the line.
Quick arm, knocking the cover off that ball. Didn't hit Zaitsev that time, though.
Topega. Nice up by Stavin. But
it hit the floor.
They said it hit the floor first. I don't know. I'm glad I'm not the referee. Halut Tongay.
Coach didn't like that, and the down referee doesn't seem to like it either. But he gives support.
Masakazu, the Japanese referee. Halut Tongay from Turkey. Vilde gets it back for his team. Karch deflected off the block, side out. Coo.
Karch does it all. He sees that hand up there and just wipes it right off.
Tough server, too. He has 3 service aces already in this match. Topega gets blocked. Karai will bring it back. Powers gets blocked by Zaitsev. But a net violation is called, so it didn't matter.
Too bad. Great set from the backcourt, and Saunders takes a nice shot at it. Go for it, babe.
Does Partee.
Dave Saunders with a beautiful pass of a tough serve.
Dusty Dvorak from Laguna Beach. He too is a grad of USC. At the World Cup, he was named the outstanding setter. And that's up against some impressive company.
Antonov puts away his 9th ball of this game, too. Leads his team.
Dvorak goes to Partee. USA isolating well. The hitters are able to really get through.
Dusty has a lot to work with, and he's got 5 guys that can hit the ball well from any place in the court. Nice luxury.
Steve Simmons.
This time it's the whip. Didn't hit it hard, just whipped it fast. Look at this reach now. Gets it down. One-man block to go against. Free ball.
Simmons. Look at his face. Hey.
That's that quick transition that the United States worked so hard on.
Soviets call a timeout. They're down by 3, and they're also behind in games 1-0.
So the United States playing very well early in this game. And Karch Kiraly is the captain of the U.S. volleyball team. At 25 years of age, Karch is one of the premier volleyball players in the world. The game is something of a tradition in Karch's family. His father was a member of the Hungarian junior national team and escaped from Budapest after the 1956 revolt. He's been actively involved in the administration of volleyball since coming to the United States. Here's our Goodwill profile.
I've been playing since age 6. My father started me on the beach in Santa Barbara. And so I've been playing for 19 years now. I'm not sure how long I'll play. Physically, I could probably play until 1992. But mentally, I don't know if I can take that.
Yes.
I love to win. And what makes it fun is winning. Because that kind of answers all the questions.
Come on.
Steve Timmons is my roommate.
Oh, nice stuff.
He's definitely an important cog on this team, and hopefully he'll always be around on this team when I am too.
I call him the computer because whenever I need a question answered or there's something I'm not sure of, I just yell across the room, "Hey, Karch, what's this?" And he'll just feed out the information, and we kind of joke to him about that.
It's not supposed to be salsa, it's cold Mexican soup.
Karch Kiraly is the captain of the U.S. men's team, and at one time I think was a very emotional player, but now I describe him as being in a situation where he has controlled emotion. I think one of the traits of a good athlete, maybe a good coach, good parent, good person, is the fact that they're consistent, and with Karch, you know right where you stand.
Here's what I want, our left back.
80 to 84, the traditions were built to a gold medal and the elite volleyball team in the world. Karch is the guy that I lean on more than anybody else to make sure that the new kids in the program experience those traditions.
This guy getting the tip. Karch is one of the most intense athletes I've ever seen, and most of the time he's one of the best players on our team. That those individuals want preferential treatment and don't always feel like they have to give as hard. But Karch works harder than anyone out there and is constantly striving to improve. And so, you know, it kind of pulls you through.
I don't like to lift too much with my legs, and so instead I substitute just a jumping regimen that we go through at the beach with 12-pound weight belts. You do sets of 30 or 40 seconds at a time, get your heart rate way up. You work out like this on this slow surface. It's really impressive, the feeling you get once you get back on that quick gym floor. You just feel like you're flying.
Karch Kiraly. I think the sad thing is that not a lot of people really know volleyball and know about Karch because he is such a talent on and off the court. the people that do know the game really appreciate him because he is the best player in the world, I think.
Turner Network Television.
Dave Saunders, 13-8, the USA on top by 5 points in game number 2. Try goes all the way over to Powers. Through the block, point USA, and one more time, the USA is sitting on game point.
This time they knocked Savin down with a good cross-court hit. The United States really high out there. Every ball that goes up in the air, you see a guy jumping a mile for it, reaching high and stroking it down.
Rocklet hits into the block. Game point for the USA. Errant pass ends it. 15-8, identical scores.
Great serve by Dave Saunders near the end there, but all of them are serving tough. Justin Dvorak setting a fabulous game out there.
Fine performance by both teams. This time the USA prevailed. If they win one more, they get the gold medal in the Savine Cup. We'll tell you more about that, but first this. United States against the Soviet Union. Right now, the USA holds a 2-0 advantage, winning game number 1, 15-8, winning game 2, 15-8, which brings up an interesting statistic. In match play, the United States, after winning 2 games for 1986, their record is 9-1. The odds again are in the USA's favor as the Soviet Union serves.
And they start off, the Soviet Union, Losef serving out. Not a good way to start a third game when you're down 2-0. The United States really cooking now, trying to stay on top of the Soviets.
Savin certainly cooking. Soviets going back to their first game starting lineup. This is Yuri Penchenko. A starter in game 1, but not in game 2. Pat Powers tries to dink it out of bounds off the block. It doesn't work. Point for the Soviet Union.
The only person they haven't put back in is Zaitsev, and they have Losef in there setting for him.
Through the block goes Pat Powers. It's funny, Antonov looks at Savin, and Savin looks at Antonov, and they're both wondering, how did we miss that?
Snuck it through.
Happens to the best of them. Right now, the official is waving at the USA bench. They're warming up, and he finds that distracting. Don't want to irritate the rest. Good block. Antonov sends it out of bounds. The USA gets the point. We're tied.
Antonov tries the sharp angle, gets a piece of the net. Nothing else. Out of bounds.
Pat Powers. Soft touches it, but the Soviets were ready. Dusty Dvorak gets a piece.
Penchenko, nice dig back there.
Rocklet deflects it off of the block, and Dusty can't get a hand of it. Set out.
Pat Power is frustrated because he didn't put the ball down. He's so used to everything he hits going down. Tough ball to hit well.
Alexander Savin to serve. Savin, 1980 Olympian. He's been an international player since 1975.
The Soviets really trying to figure out how they can stop this machine called the United States. They're just doing everything well.
Yankee ingenuity. Two to one.
Here it is. The ball is up. It's the big red machine right there.
Back in bounds.
U.S. meets the great wall of Soviet Union. That's what happens when you don't have the deception. You got two big red guys looking right down your throat.
Karch overpasses. Dilday smashes it back.
One of the rare times when the pass hasn't been perfect.
And Marv Dunphy says, let's slow this thing down right now. The score is 4-1. The Soviet Union leads the USA.
We're going to be rejoining the volleyball in just a little bit. The Soviet Union coming back, the United States with a timeout. We're going to take a little break from the volleyball action for a moment, though, to return to Moto Ball. Just a quick recap. Moto Ball was thought to have been first played in Dijon, France, about 1929, first showed up in the Soviet Union about 1937, and the sport in the form that we know it today really got rolling in the Soviet Union and other Eastern European countries about 1963 to 1965, as you're seeing it here. So we brought our Moto Ball expert here to the Soviet Union, Skip Carey. He's already offered a little play-by-play of the Moto Ball game. We're going to rejoin Skip now at Vidnoye for Moto Ball.
Skip Carey back with you from just outside Moscow, where Moto Ball action is the order of the day. It's a 2-2 game. We're in the first half. The European team has put the ball in play, and now the Soviets go to work. Remember, this is a soccer field. It's the same goal size as the soccer field, same length of the field, same width of the field. The Soviets play it on blacktop. Mostly in Europe. There's a collision, by the way. Edwin Murs of the European team. Most of the European countries play it on grass or on mud. But here it's a good thing that they don't. And a good save once again. A couple guys hit the deck, but nobody is injured at all. Keep an eye on number 5, Sergey Chomsky. He's the best that the Soviets have to offer, and maybe the best Moto Ball player in the world. Sort of the Henry Aaron of Moto Ball. Chomsky's about to do his thing again. Remember, you can't carry it over the midfield line either. You have to pass it over. You can't touch it again till someone else does. Here comes Chomsky. Had no opening there, so he takes it back outside and starts over again. They really are marvelous cyclists, aren't they? The Soviets have control again. Now Ralph Sush is about to get a test. He's the goalkeeper, and a magnificent diving save. Sush saved what appeared to be a certain goal, and he had really a tremendous first half of action here. Some of the fans trying to get up close and personal. And there's a Moto Ball fan of the future. Once again, the Soviets take control, and again they're on the attack. And once again, Sush had an easier play that time. Runs across the crease. He cannot leave that crease. And the European team heads the other way. Edwin Mertz takes a tumble here. He was knocked down by Vladimir Danilin. Mertz and his cycle are okay, and he and Danilin shake hands. This is an exhibition match, and nobody ever lost their temper, but I imagine in the club matches around Moscow or other places in Europe, this could get to be a game that would remind you of hockey. Very few injuries, the Soviets tell us, and the European teams concur with that. Out of bounds there, and an offside will be called. There is sand put down on the blacktop to help, number 1, the wet spots, and number 2, to enable the cyclists to wheel around. Number 3 for the Soviets is Alexander Zarev. He's going to make a good move. He spins free here. But once again, a good stop by Ralph Sush. The action continues, and halftime is approaching in Vidnoye. You know, I've really been working hard on my Russian since I've been over there, and let's see if I can find out why this sport is so popular here in the Soviet Union. I have to find a likely candidate to talk it over with. Wait a minute. I think I see the guy. Here he is. Why do you like Moto Ball?
Да, игра очень нравится, потому что я здесь в поселке живу, и как игра, так я прихожу смотреть. Очень нравится, веселый, понял, жизнерадостный, и, как сказать, все очень хорошо. И есть где провести свободное время, понял, отдохнуть, понял, так сказать, поболеть за команду. Желаю, чтобы они играли и болели за эту игру.
Спасибо. Okay, well, this is the halftime entertainment that's offered at Moto Ball. Granted, it's not the University of Michigan marching band or anything like that, but the contrast from all those whining, roaring motors to this is absolutely breathtaking and very interesting, we think, and we thought we'd like to share a little bit of it with you. Let's take a look at some of the highlights of the first half, and one of the keys was the truly outstanding play of the European goalie, Rolf Such. After letting in the 2 early goals, he shut down the high-powered Soviet attack. In the process, knocked over one of his own defensemen. But he was sensational throughout. Look at this diving save. That was a cinch goal that he knocked away. And he's not through yet. The Soviets were all over him all afternoon long, but in the first half, he was magnificent. And here once again from close range, he covered the ball in the crease. If there was a star for the Europeans, it had to be the goalie, Rolf Such, in the first half. Well, if you were with us out here the other day, you know that I told you that if you could get a bet down, take the Soviets and give 5 goals. Well, the goalkeeper for the European national team has been absolutely sensational today. I don't know if that was such a good bet or not, but I never give up. Whoop, here he comes now. Come here, pal. This is Jimmy the Estonian. There's a guy I handle my action with. Can I double up? Is it too late to double up?
Да нет, мы уже договорились. Никак невозможно.
So I can double up, in other words?
Конечно.
Thank you very much. Get going before the fuzz catches. I'm going to hang in there. I still like the Russians. Okay, it's now second half action. A new goalie is in there for the European All-Stars. That's Michael Schwartz. And he gets tested early here and makes a diving save. Sort of a surprising move by the European team to change goaltenders, but Schwartz got off to a good start too. Now it's the Europeans on the attack, but the Soviets do a good job of clogging things up. I wonder if a man-to-man defense would prove helpful in this game. Sometimes they get close to the goal and there's such a melee, it's really hard to find out what's going on. Now number 5, our pal Sergey, is going to be off and running again, takes a beautiful pass and beats Schwartz just inside the post to make it a 3-2 Soviet game. And the crowd, despite the cold weather and despite the rain, really enjoyed themselves on a gloomy Sunday in Vidnoye, the Moscow suburb. Let's look at the replay of the goal one more time. Here it comes. Bingo. But the Soviets, they're not through yet. They have the ball once more, and they begin to work it around. And this time it's going to be Vladimir Serebrikov. Who makes a nice pass right on the money. And the Soviets score again. People are the same everywhere. Here's a European fan who's second-guessing the coach for putting Schwartz into the game. The action continues here. A European break is stopped. A Soviet break comes to nothing. And just when it looks like the Soviets are going to blow it away, the Europeans get back into action. They played much better in this Sunday match than they had in their first performance in the Soviet Union. Perhaps that's their best player, the European team, is number 8, Edwin Mertz. As that is kicked away, the Europeans go to work. Here he comes. And Mertz makes it a 4-3 game with that good shot. The Europeans were really cheered by the way they played in this thing. They felt they did a good job. And we're going to watch Edwin Mertz perform one more time. There's that goal that made it a 4-3 game. So the Europeans hanging tough just outside of Moscow.
We'll return with more.
In volleyball, the U.S. men's team leading the Soviet Union 2-0 when we left them. We're going to rejoin Game 3 now. The Soviets, when we last left, had been leading in that Game 3. Let's see what's happening. Here's Leandra Riley.
Karch Karai serving for the United States in game number 3. USA down by 6 points, but leads in the games category 2-0. Svertlik gets it up. Saunders will have to set. Here comes Timmons. Out of bounds, no blocker touched it.
Steve Timmons goes for the line and misses.
Simmons. That was out. Did anybody touch it? They're saying no. Side out USA. Losov appealing to the referee for a net call. He doesn't get it. No blockers touched it. Point USA.
America's finest setter, Dusty Dvorak, one of the finest in the world, back serving, trying to make a run.
Side out for the Soviet Union.
Panchenko takes a very long, slow arm swing, and the block comes up and starts down before he hits.
Off the block and out of bounds. Point.
That's the first dink in a long time. It didn't work, and Panchenko takes advantage.
Antonov setting. Goes to Panchenko. Right through a triple block.
3 for 3 for Panchenko.
12-5. The USA has no timeouts remaining. Nice short serve. Excellent move by Karai to get to it. Dvorak. Plenty went off the block. The Japanese official concurs. Side out.
Panchenko is alive and sizzling. 4 for 4.
Dvorak going to Severtlik. Comes right back over the net. Dvorak goes back to Severtlik again. Through the block, side out.
Bob Severtlik hitting against that tough two-man block. Couldn't get him. Here it is. Savin comes over quickly. He and Antonov blow it. Let him get by.
Our first referee, Haluk Tongay from Turkey. Savin. There's the hammer, there's a sickle. That's the hammer.
And that first pass is coming up sweet as can be consistently. Soviets really playing some great ball out there this third game.
Severtlik gets blocked back. They say it was good. Point for the Soviet Union. And look for the USA to make some substitutions now since Coach Dunphy has no timeouts remaining. Simmons roundhouses it. Side out USA.
That was a nice
Funny
whip.
how the crowd just gets quiet.
On the good plays.
Coming out, Alexander Savin. Going in the game is Selivanov, number 6.
Selivanov, an old hero, 34 years of age, 6 foot 4 inches, a little long in tooth, but everybody loves him.
And that was a long pass from Panchenko. It went out of bounds, so the USA gets their 6th point of game number 3.
Zaitsev at 34, being rested quite a bit. He hasn't seen duty for a long time now.
Still up. Severtlik sends it over. Second option. Left the door.
Soviet offense is great. Everything works. Conditioning is going to be a factor in this match now.
Substitution for the USA. Coming back into the game once the referee signals will be Pat Powers. Well, Bob Severtlik wants some first aid treatment for a contact problem. I just saw it drop to the floor. So Severtlik's going to need a substitution or a timeout to take care of a contact. You can see part of the second referee from Japan. And we're seeing the careful insertion of a contact lens into the eye of Bob Svertlik. He can't do it, so they're not going to force him to take a substitution.
First referee is very impatient. He's in control of the game, and he's saying, we want a substitute.
Svertlik can't get the contact lens in, so Pat Powers is back in for the action. I guess he gets 2 tries on a contact lens, and then he got a sub.
Next.
13-6. Timmons gets it back.
The United States will get a chance to prove what a great side-out team it is. That's what they do best. They just say, we're not going to let you score on us.
6 serving 13. Low stuff, build a fake. It's still good. Timmons.
Timmons knocks down Selivanov this time. He doesn't have Zaitsev to pick on anymore, so Selivanov is it.
Timmons back to serve. Bilde gets blocked by the USA. Let's see, they back set to Timmons. It is called out on 2 counts, both wide and long. Side out.
He sure cracks that ball.
Substitution now, Troy Tanner coming into the game. Coming out will be Steve Timmons.
Troy Tanner is the one collegiate with eligibility left. He's got 1 year left at Pepperdine. 6'3", 190-pounder.
Of course, he's a setter at Pepperdine, but there's so many good setters on the USA team. He's a hitter here.
Ooh,
long.
Just long. In fact, he led Pepperdine last year to the NCAA championship as their star setter. Great defensive man, though, as well.
Excellent dink by Bilde. Savin is back in for the Soviet Union, number 3. RT gets it. Dusty Dvorak with the serve. A cool, calm, and collected Antonov.
And that Losev to Antonov is a nice combination. Losev doing a great job in there as the replacement setter for Zaitsev.
Dave Saunders.
The hammer. Dave Saunders. Here he comes around. Quick arm swing.
Steve Timmons, wearing number 6, waiting for the official to okay the substitution. Steve Timmons, 27 years old, 6 feet 5 inches tall.
The United States team would like to get some momentum going on their side. They can salvage this game fine, but they want to start playing extremely well right about here.
Off the block. Side out Soviet Union. Service is long, a break for the U.S.
Here's Savin up in the air. Losev puts it to him nicely. Banging it, banging it.
Oh, short service. Karch-Karai softly setting it between 3 blockers.
That peripheral vision. Here it is, Karch. How did he sneak it through? Under an elbow.
Power serving. Vilde on the quick set.
Once again, the quick arm, perfect set.
Coming over free. No. Antonov can make chicken salad out of chicken feet.
He's tough. He's that quick arm, just negotiates it over the net and down.
Game point for the Soviet Union, 14-7. Out. Side out.
Antonov wanted that one big. Would have been a great way to go out.
Vilde. Timmons from out of bounds. Sends it out of bounds.
He's like a rocket launcher. Just go. Ian Powers back in the far corner, out of the way, so that Saunders and Karts-Kirai can pass that ball.
Blocked out of bounds. Side out for the U.S. Karts-Kirai.
I don't think Zaitsev's going to see any more action this whole match, the way Losev is setting that ball.
Vilde serving. Game point for the Soviet Union. Not this time. Side out.
Doug Partee snapping that ball crisply.
Beautiful dink by Panchenko.
Cart in disgust just lies there for a moment. That soft stuff, killer. A lot of people could have gotten it if they'd have just known it was up to them. The old yours shot.
Losev serving. Game point for the Soviet Union. Pat Powers sends it down the block. Side out.
And the United States side outing well. We got a war here, folks. The kind of war we like to have.
The only kind. Yuri Panchenko, number 1 for the Soviet Union, from Kiev. Side out again.
Second option that time. Saunders ready.
Let's see what he can do with his serve.
Off the line on that wall.
It's out.
Great play. Karts-Kirai
And nobody touched it.
Dave Saunders and hitting it at 1,000,000 miles an hour.
And the Soviet Union elects to take a timeout. Our score, 14-9. Soviet Union leads. 400 fans filling Lennon Central Stadium, smaller arena. I'm Leander Riley along with Michael O'Hara. The United States took games 1 and 2, 15-8 in both. And right now they trail in game number 3, 14-9. That's long. Another point for the USA.
Footsteps coming up the road.
10-14. And Karch sends it right on top of the balding head of Valerie Losa.
Penchenko passes the ball over, and Karch is ready.
Now we know how he lost the hair up there. Good block. Nice up by Dvorak. Saunders takes it as a set. It's still good. Dvorak only got a piece of it.
Americans battling, but not enough this time. 14-11, though. They've come a long way back since the Soviets had point game. That's that side-out mentality that they do so well. Refuse to budge, refuse to give up that last point.
He must win by 2 points. Right now, the Soviet Union needs just 1 more point to win their first game of this match.
Soviet crowd impatient. They've almost tasted blood, and they want some. Want a good win here.
Powers hits into the block, but answers it himself. Here comes Karch, no blockers. Could be game point here. Let's see what happens. This is legal. He brought it back. Back set. Antonov gets blocked. The block goes out of bounds.
Great finish.
And the Soviet Union beats the United States.
Soviet Union, you expected them to come back, and they did. They came roaring back. And this team is ready for a win coming up. They want another 2 games.
Our score, 15-11. The Soviet Union prevails in Game 3.
We'll be going back for more volleyball coverage in the 4th game shortly, but now we want to rejoin the Moto Ball coverage. When last we left Moto Ball at Vidnoye, the score was Motoball 4, Skip Carey nothing. Let's see if Skip's made a comeback.
So the action resumes, and the European team puts it in play, down 4-3. They head downfield, and nothing develops for them. The Soviets have the lead. You can see the umbrellas in the background. It was a rainy little day. That ball weighs a kilo, which is 2.2 pounds, by the way. And now the Soviets' number 7, Vladimir Artushkevich, comes out of the pack, breaks up the right wing. Gets it to number 3, Alexander Zarev. Good move by Zarev. And he beats Ralph Sush, who is back in the game. That makes it a 5-3 game. The Europeans, you know, are an all-star game. They really haven't played together that much. You look at the replay of the Zarev goal. The Europeans head the other way, and Edwin Mertz, who's their big gun, is going to get the ball here momentarily. And it comes to nothing good for him. There's the save, and Mertz got knocked sprawling. He's shaken a little bit. No penalty was called on the play. That's blacktop that these guys are falling on. It's not like... Again, Artushkevich shakes hands with him. So does the goalie, Valery Ionov, who we talked to earlier. Mertz wondering why no penalty was called. Maybe the PA man is too. The action continues. The game is winding down.
Attention, please. The press conference for journalists with accreditations will be held in the press center after the...
You're hearing in the background the PA lady talking about a news conference coming up after the game because of the overflow press coverage. Not just Soviet, but French and German and American as well. A lot of U.S. writers were there. The game is winding down now. And as it ends, the Soviets have built themselves a lead that turns out to be 7-3, and that's the way the contest will wind up. It's history. Soviets 7, European All-Stars wound up with 3. Now the game is over, but the teams and officials line up at center field and get a warm reception from the crowd. And it really was a good one despite the horrible weather. And number 3 for the Soviets, Alexander Zarev, will shake hands with the officials and the European players. The crowd really enjoyed it. I think they did, and I wonder what you think about it. Will the game go in our country? I think it will. I think it's a game that appeals to a lot of folks in our country. A lot of us ride motorcycles. You don't have to be mechanical, though I guess it helps. It appeals to the lowbrows. It appeals to the highbrows. And I think someday there might be a Moto Bowl, just like the Super Bowl. And so on a rainy Sunday afternoon, we bid fond farewell to Motoball. I hope you've enjoyed it. We've certainly enjoyed watching it. As a famous veteran Motoball maniac told me earlier as we were watching the match, when the going gets tough, the motors get revved. Tell you what, having watched 2 complete matches here in Moscow, I don't think it's that tough. Come on, you turkeys, give it your best shot.
After Skip Carey and Motoball, we're going back to the very serious game right now. Those players were serious, but I'm not sure Skip was totally serious with his coverage there. We're going back to the very serious confrontation between the United States and the Soviet Union in men's volleyball. U.S. men lead by game count of 2-1. We're going into the 4th game now. Let's go back to Leandra Riley.
Game number 4 continues here at Lennon Central Stadium, smaller arena. Leandra Riley along with Mike O'Hara. And Saraklis has executed a side out for the Soviet Union.
He's hitting well from that left side. Doesn't seem to be getting tired one little bit.
This time Kurai hits off the block. It goes out of bounds, side out.
Great second effort by Karch Kurai. He tried a little off-speed hit, got dug. They saved it. Dave Saunders made a nice set. Karch up there high, split the block, off the block and out of bounds.
Eight serving 9. Panchenko goes up. The triple block is out of bounds, side out.
Points are awful tough to come by on both sides.
Which I think brings up an argument that you and I haven't touched on yet in this particular match, and that is, will they ever go to the points on all serves? In other words, the no side out rule, and if so, when?
Well, they're doing some tests right now. The Federation International de Volleyball is studying. Quick play. The key to it is that why shouldn't you get a point every time you make a great play? Why should it be a side out? Because it's more exciting. the match will last a more determinate number of minutes, and all those things help the match become better for television and better for the fans. It's more exciting when a good play is made that you get a point for it, just like you do in tennis.
If they do make the change, when would be the earliest that we might see this?
The earliest would be right after the Olympic Games, and they might try some abbreviated form of that and see how it worked, like the 5th game being a sudden death point per serve game.
So not until 1988.
Right.
Off the block. Point.
Soviets reached the 2-digit mark before the United States, 10-8. Pentenko trapped Antonov right on the net. The big wall came up, took his head right off. Losev making some great defensive plays over there. He's my player of the game so far for the Soviets. He's come off the bench and sparkled.
Side out. U.S. can't get a point.
Concentration is the key here. Lots of patience.
The time has to be taking its toll on the players. They've been out there a long, long time. If the Soviet Union loses, they lose the match. Substitution coming in, Jeff Stork, going out, Doug Partee. Calling a violation against the United States. Side out for the Soviet Union. Correction point.
Over the net.
Point for the Soviet Union as Marv Dunphy elects to take a timeout with our score 11-8. The Soviet Union leads it. Soviet Union, they hold a 11-8 lead over the United States. Make that 12-8.
Antonov and Slavin up there strong. Pat Powers nowhere to go.
And Dusty Dvorak was on the floor tripping on something. Blocked out of bounds, side out.
Pat Powers go.
Slavin arguing with the official. Not winning it.
They didn't like that one-hand set that went over the net by Dusty.
It's good.
Great
USA
athletic
gets the point.
move by Steve Timmons. That ball was not anywhere near hittable, but he did it.
It was out, whether or not, no, we're having two different calls. They're saying it's good, side out.
Looks like he hit a line to me.
Powers hits into the block, it goes out of bounds, side out. Substitution coming into the game for the Soviet Union is Pavel Selivanov, 64 inches tall, while Alexander Savin takes the rest. Timmons.
Dave Saunders makes a great save. Kartsky rise, sets over his head beautifully. And Timmons has the fast arm and puts it down. Nice combination play. And suddenly, Pat Powers is serving at 10-12.
Service is long. I think our linesmen are asleep. The first referee called that no flag from the officials that are on the line.
I think they only call when it's not an obvious play. That one they must have felt was obvious.
You're supposed to call every play. Good dump by Dvorak.
And you notice that Steve Timmons was up in the air because he has to jump every time. Watch him here. He's jumping every time just to keep that block honest.
Partee and Stork have once again swapped. Doug Partee is now in the game, number 5. Ooh, blocked back in his face. Facial disgraceful.
Bill, the reach over there and
Look at
wham.
this. Whap, right back in it. And that's slow motion. So it hurts more.
That's like getting into a brick wall. The big red machine is playing well.
Karai tries a soft touch and eats it. 13-10.
He's been getting away with that nicely, but the block is watching carefully, and they saw the soft play and just tapped it right back at him.
That block is out of bounds. Side out.
Again, it's not a feeling of triumph when that happens. It's a feeling of relief.
Solo block by Penchenko.
There's the quick transition play that the United States loves to have, to be able to go from defense to offense quickly. And so you go to that quick man, but Vilde was ready, Penchenko rather, was ready in that center for the quick play.
Savin back in to leave enough out.
Steve Salmon's on the bench with back spasms, hadn't been able to play this whole tournament. And they could use him in that center every once in a while because he's such a quick 6'4" guy that can hit the ball well. Great player they're missing.
Dave Saunders.
There it is, off the block. Ball's going down. Crowd wanted that ball dug.
Serving 13. Losef hitting on 2. Powers going strongly off the block. Point. 11 serving 13.
And Losef is no longer the offensive force that he's been. He hasn't been getting away with that. And Powers hitting high off the block.
Penchenko goes right around Pat Powers.
One-man block. Penchenko eats him alive. Everybody else in the center.
Deflecting off the block, side out. Losef goes behind to Penchenko. Timmons tips it over. Antonov deflecting off the block. Kirai brings it back. Dvorak goes to Saunders. And the Soviets can't return it. It is now 12-13.
Losef at 6'1", not able to touch that ball. Dave Saunders hits well.
And the Soviet Union decides to call a timeout. The U.S. is getting a little too close for comfort. It's 13-12. The United States is looking to tie things up. They trail the Soviet Union in points by 1. It is 13-12, but they lead in games 2-1.
One of the good servers for the United States, Doug Partee, back.
Side out.
Timmons gets a piece. Karch gets another little piece. Not enough.
And Karch left a lot of his sweat in the center of that court.
And Chinko has been jump serving. It looks like this time he's going to try something safer.
Timmons on a sweet spot, going right on the top of those blockers.
And again, Losev tried his best to jump and hit it, but he's just a little bit too short to do that.
12 serving 13. Saunders behind the line. Timmons ties it up.
Timmons looking hungry up there. Great serve by Dave Saunders. And we've got ourselves a thriller in Moscow.
I'll tell you, Lenin Central Stadium, smaller arena, is swelling with pride. The Soviets are very proud of their team, and you can hear the USA cheers. This has been a tremendous volleyball match. I hate to use that cliche. It's really too bad somebody has to lose, because this is volleyball at its best. And Tonoff is blocked. Comes back over, but the USA didn't see it, and it went out. No, they said it was good. And Marv Dumpy's going to get a yellow card for standing up and protesting that call. We take another look at it.
Let's see if we can see where that now.
Nope, the camera doesn't pick it up.
Tough call.
A yellow card is simply a warning telling you to behave yourself. Here you'll see Karch Karai is now talking to the official, which is perfectly legal. The coach may not. You get a red card, that take away a point. Another red card, that take away a game. And if you keep misbehaving, they take away the match.
Right. It's happened a few times before. It won't happen here.
Come on, Goodwill, huh? 13-all. Pat Powers is coming back. It's going out. Side out.
Alexander Savin really trying for that dig. Almost came up with it. That's 12 kills in this game for Pat Powers.
Powers serving. Losev goes out to Sorokalet. Comes off the block. Saunders gets it up. Dusty Dvorak to Karch Karai. Gets blocked back, but they're ready. Blocked back again, still ready. Karai goes up. Blocked back, it's still up. No, it's not. Side out.
Dusty Dvorak took the ball off the block, and he was standing out of bounds, and he played it. And that was what kept that alive. If he could have gotten out of the way, they'd have had that point.
Substitution. Vladimir Skorikin coming into the game, and Valery Losev will come out. They need Skorikin in the front row because he is 67 inches tall. Number 5.
So the big red wall gets bigger.
And Skorikin is well rested. He'll be able to jump a lot.
He also might be a little cold.
Yaroslav Antonov serving. Rated the best server in the world.
Great serve.
Karai. Well, I'll tell you one thing. Skorikin didn't stop old Karch Karai there, did he?
And Antonov got it in the breadbasket. Couldn't control it. Great hit by Karai. Once again, he ends up with that right leg way in the air.
Skorikin's out of there already. Losev's back in. Here comes Steve Timmons serve. Going back to Antonov. He danced on the net, giving the USA time. Karai. Sorokalet. He's blocked. Game and match point for the U.S. now coming up.
Doug Partee is ready. Look at this wall up there. Doug moves quickly, and down it goes. 14-13. Point match.
Side out. Soviets still alive. Serving 14. Sorokalet behind the line.
Look for Karch on this play.
Off the block? No. We're tied at 14. And what this means is our game now moves up to 16 points. You must win by 2. Block back. 15-14. game, the Soviet Union could win this game with one more effective offense piece like that.
2 times in a row. Losev in the center that time. Blocking card.
Severtlich going in the game. Pat Powers coming out.
Not too happy about it.
(15-14), game point for the Soviets. Karai finds it this time. It's good side out.
Dusty going back to the guy that got him here, Kirai, and he delivers.
USA needs 1 point to tie, 3 points to win. Losev going to Penchenko, who dinks it. Timmons not surprised by that. Severtlich punches it over. Losev takes it on one. Penchenko gets blocked. Scramble. USA swallows it side out.
U.S. missed an opportunity. They had a free play, didn't put it down, and they pay for it.
Game point for the Soviet Union. Raymond Vilde to serve. Luke Tungay, our first referee, been challenged many times in this match. Now, this is not match point for the Soviets. They've only won 1 game. Now they've won 2.
And the Soviets come back to win 2 straight, and we've got a dogfight, 2 games apiece. The final sudden-death game coming up.
14-16, the USA loses game 4. 11-15, the USA loses game 3. What happens in game 5 will determine the match and the Savine Cup. The United States and the Soviet Union are now down to the wire. This is the rubber game. They are even at 2 games apiece, with the Soviet Union winning games 3 and 4. The U.S. taking an early lead at 2-0. Well, they gave that up to the Soviet Union, as I said. The USSR taking games 3 and 4. I'm Leander Roddy along with Mike O'Hara. The Soviet Union is in red. The USA is in blue. As you look now at Doug Partee, number 5.
Here's the stat for you, Leandra. In the last 59 matches, the United States has lost only once after leading either 2-0 or 2-1 in games. So that's a tremendous record. And they did win the first 2 games in this match.
That record may be in jeopardy tonight.
Time will tell.
Dusty Dvorak back to serve for the USA. Pat Powers, Steve Timmons, Karch Kirai, Doug Partee, the rest of the starters. Savin, Antonov, Sorokilich, Penchenko, Losev, the starters for the Soviet Union. Still up. Blocked back at him. Side out. And that's a corner of difficulty for the U.S.
Well, they did well to keep that ball alive on defense, so they at least got a ball for Dave Saunders to swing at. The United States team is tremendously talented physically, but also very mentally tough. When the pressure's on, they play well, and the pressure is now on. In the lair of the big red bears from the Soviet Union.
The Savine Cup, and of course the gold medal in the first Goodwill Games at stake. The U.S. never won a Savine Cup, and the Soviet Union has only lost it once, and that was to Cuba a few years back. Service error puts it back on the USA side.
The old pro corks one. And Losev continues to be the setter because he's playing so well. Captain and superstar setter Zaitsev on the bench, rested and ready to come in if needed.
Alexander Savin, 29 years of age. Saunders Not off the block. Point for the Soviet Union.
Hit that ball a little high in his hand instead of on the heel, and the ball took off.
Timmons gets it back. Side out USA.
Steve Timmons up in the air early and whips it before the block can get near him.
Service error, USA, side out.
Bob Stavertlik entered the game, lost his contacts, went out, and never saw daylight again. Big Red, Steve Timmons, continues to pound that ball.
USA outblocks Sarakulit. We're tied at 1.
Sarakulit that time tries to wipe the ball off the block and fails.
Sarakulit goes over the block. And a net violation is called on the USA. Side out. Timmons.
Both teams sided out in Ralph.
That's a great haircut he's got.
A buzz. He was wild and woolly, very erratic player until the 1984 period, and in the Olympics he was Mr. Steady. Losev gets away with a hit on the second play. Nobody ready for that. As the match wears on, the quick plays are much tougher to get. Some of the dinks will probably be good too. Soft stuff should be more effective than it was earlier in the match when everybody had the sharp instincts and reflexes. Conditioning, big factor here.
Never over. Point. Two to 1.
Although the United States is a slightly younger team, the Soviets have been substituting a little bit more often.
RT lobs it over. Here comes Antonov. He's blocked. Side out.
All three Americans lining up there. Partee, Dvorak, and Kirai, and they farm a great block. Right down and goes. Ball on the net. Losev a little too quick.
Timmons from the back court. Ouch.
Savin felt that he had took off in front of the 10-foot line. Referee disagrees. That's 4 strong hits by Steve Timmons and then 1 shank.
To Savin.
Made Alexander Savin mad. Punishes the ball.
Serve into the net by Penchenko. And Antonov doesn't really get a full piece of it, and the soft hit works.
Hit a nice angle. No one guarding the line. Just tucks it in.
Powers gets blocked back. 3-1 Soviet Union.
No deception on that play. All 3 Soviets right there ready to cram it. Got to get a better pass than that.
racket goes out of bounds. Point for the Soviet Union. It's still alive. Saunders. Net violation called against the Soviet Union. Side out USA.
Powers ready, reaching nicely, tucks it down. Vilda back in business, hitting that quick play. Up in the air, bang, before the block can get there.
All right, now the U.S. looks a little tired.
Long match. The Soviets have had some real tough matches. They played Japan in the semis, went 5 games all the way down to the wire. In pool play, they played the French, went 5 games all the way down to the wire. So they're battle sharp right now.
That's right, the longest match that the U.S. has had was against the French in the other semifinal. That went to 4 games.
This is the first time they've gone 5. Let's see what they've got. Losev makes a beautiful play on a bad pass. Just across the court, he spoons it off. Nobody home. Soviets playing awfully well right now.
Really mixing it up well. Karai gets it up. Partey brings it in. Through the block. Marv Dunphy says, let's talk about it, guys, and calls for a timeout. Our score is 5-1. The Soviet Union leads the USA. Score is 5-1 in game number 5. We are even 2-2 in the match.
Nobody flinched. Throcklet got a piece. No blocker. Karch crunches.
1 serving 5.
Losev is fabulous.
He's really having the match of his life.
Here it is. Nobody watching for that. You've got to worry about it when he does it to you 5 or 6 times.
At 6'1", he's a great vertical jumper, too. Karai bounces it off of Losev's block, side out.
Karch yells, let's go. They've been on that one a long time. The whip. That time he faked again. Got the block a little off balance. Losev is doing it all tonight. Second stringer comes off the bench to lead his team to a real tough match, maybe a win. Who knows?
Crowd yelling Losev for the server, Valery Losev.
Almost came up with that one. Steve Timmons hitting bullets.
Raymond Vilde, number 7. This is Dusty Dvorak serving. Net serve, side out. Karai got a piece of it. Bought some time for the U.S.
Makes the fake. Block goes with him. Then down they come, and he pumps it.
Step down. 7-1.
Pat Powers doesn't extend all the way up. It's down by his head a little bit instead of stretching, and the block eats him up. Everybody in the place knew where it was coming. That three-man block is tough.
USA has one timeout remaining. This is becoming a blowout. Now, in the fifth game of a match, the players must change sides as soon as one team reaches 8 points, and we are at that junction right now. The Soviet Union leads the United States in the fifth, final, and deciding game of this gold medal match. Our score is 8-1.
Pat Powers reaches high in the air and hits over the block and down. This U.S. team prides itself on being a great side-out team. Now is the time to prove it.
We should add that during that change of court, the United States also took a timeout, so they have no timeouts remaining. One of the Soviets is in the net. Point for the United States.
Nice serve by Doug Partee. Alexander Savin, big number 3, up and hit Karch right in the shoulder.
No blockers touched it, 9-2.
Simmons making a few errors. Now's the time for the team to steady up if they're ever going to do it.
Nobody touches it. It is 10-2. And the Soviet Union is routing the United States in this fifth game. Marv Dunphy looking in desperation for something to change the magic out there. He puts in Bob Stavertlich. No, he's putting in Steve Salmons for the first time in these Goodwill games. Steve Salmons is going to play volleyball. He's a man with a back spasm. Number 3, Steve Salmons, 6 feet 4 inches tall, a 1984 Olympic gold medalist. And also Bob Stavertlich, who has seen quite a bit of action. The number 3 is the real story.
Steve Salmons, one of the great UCLA Bruin players that won the gold medal in Long Beach in the 1984 Olympic Games. He hasn't played 1 minute in this whole tournament, and they put him in. The United States trying to change the chemistry out there.
Stavertlich. It's called good, side out.
Bob Stavertlich with his contact in.
We hope. Excellent dink by Sarakovic, side out.
Good time to do it. Everybody a little tired. Dink works.
Antonov serving.
That mop is probably wetter than the floor is.
Powers hits into the block. It goes out of bounds, side out for the USA.
The United States has just blunted the world's finest server, Antonin. They've done a pretty good job with him all night.
Off the block. Simmons hits it long. Side out.
Simmons can't buy the court. Having a rough spell. Team's got to rally behind him. One of the great players.
Durakala serving. Karchkarai glances it off the block, side out. He's serving 10.
Steve Salmons, a nice blocker in there in the center. He's blocking on the left now.
And just his presence, they're calling net violation against him.
Steve Salmons, chest in the net.
It's still up. It's still up. Dvorak's hit was good. No, they're saying Dvorak's hit was bad. That was an interesting shot there of the ball getting tied up on the baton. What happens there is that baton, that red and white extension of the sideline, is not to be contacted by a player or the ball. It's considered out of bounds.
Steve Salmons is trying to get warm out there. Looks like his back is a little sensitive the way he's handling himself.
Blocked back out of bounds. Now everybody's questioning every calling. The ref is reaching for the old yellow card there. The score's second referee, Akitaha Masakazu, is having a hard time getting the attention of the floor wipe kids.
It's been a long match for them, too.
Uh-huh. He just shook one kid and pointed to his eyes, telling him to watch for his gestures.
Most of these youngsters are potentially superstars down the road, and they're delighted to be out there, getting the exposure they are.
Simmons is blocked back. It's still good. Here comes Severtlik off the block, and the United States has scored a point.
Bob Severtlik gets out of trouble very well. Set was mediocre.
It's up and back. Point, USA.
Steve Salmons on the quick attack. Good transition from defense to offense.
Panchenko, but it's up by Powers. They go back to Simmons. Cross court, point USA.
Steve is back on track. Swinging at that ball and hitting well. Timeout called by the Soviets.
Our score 11-5. The Soviets still lead it. This is game 5. Game number 5 between the United States and the Soviet Union continues. The United States putting a few points on the board. They now only trail by 6 in this deciding game. Excellent block by Salmons.
Steve Salmons is doing a job out there, and suddenly the United States is alive.
Panchenko dinks it. Karai was ready. Oh, boy. Salmons and Simmons both hit it simultaneously. A costly mistake, but that's what happens when someone's new off the bench, having not played this tournament.
Hope that didn't hurt Steve Salmons' back. Someone's got to yell for that ball and take it. Leandra, in the World Cup in '85, these two teams played against one another. They went to 5 games. The match lasted 3 hours and 45 minutes. The United States was down 11-4, and they came back to win that 5th game. So 11-6 is doable if they play their game.
Severtlik gets it back for the U.S.
Severtlik against a big red block, gets it down cross court.
It's out. No touch on the block. Point, USA.
Crowd getting uneasy. Here come the footsteps again.
Oh, went over on the pass. Blocked out of bounds.
Everything's working for the U.S. all of a sudden.
Oh, 8-11.
Great serve by Dusty Dvorak. One of the clutch players of all time. He and Karts-Kirai refused to be beaten.
They're just playing ping pong with everyone's emotions. What a match. Blocked by the United States. But they're saying it was out. Side out.
Vertlich thought that he got a piece of Antonov's hand when he hit it back, but I guess not. No one else saw it.
Only Antonov knows for sure.
You've got some very fresh players now into this U.S. lineup. Steve Salmons, Vertlich.
Powers gets blocked back and nobody's there to protect it. 12-8.
Pat Powers in this play, trapped. Good two-man block, eat him alive. Nothing is tougher for a hitter when that set is right close to the net and the big block is coming over at you.
Powers going up again, blocked back again. You think the Soviet Union's onto that play?
They're looking for him. Three-man block. Tough.
It's still up. Off the block. Side out.
Who, me? Antonov looks very innocent. Who knows?
Steve Salmon serving for the first time in weeks. Can't get to it.
2 points from D-Day.
13-8. The Soviet Union's on top.
Home
2 points.
Crowd really behind them, giving them fresh energy.
Vertlich. Can't get to it. It hit the pole, side out. Vilda almost mad at the pole for being there, but something's got to hold up the net. Substitution. Coming into the game, number 6, Pavel Selivanov. Coming out, Savin.
Alexander Savin did his part. Toughest blocker around.
Vertlich. Vilda with a strange dink. Timmons. It's still alive. Powers brushes it off the block on that side. Point, USA.
No. Point. Pat Powers missing the line.
Never mind, I called it out. I stand corrected here. No point. It is still 13-8. And a
Great
substitution. Igor's back in. Igor Runov, number 4.
When you got that tough block blocking you every time, you go for the tough angles.
13-8.
Intimidating block.
13 serving 8. Powers. Runov sets. Sarakalot. Out, but off the block. And we are at game and match point for the Soviet Union. And the way things look right now, it looks like they're going to hang on to that Savin Cup.
Dusty Dvorak looking for a player to put the ball down. He'll probably go to Karch again. Steve Timmons tucks it in. The quick hit before the block can come up. And here into the game goes Zaitsev.
Vyacheslav Zaitsev, who has not seen any action so far in this match, or in this game particularly, is now back in the game for the Soviet Union.
The wily captain for the Soviet team.
It's still up. Karts-Kirai. Blocked back. Side out.
Nowhere to go. This block is foolproof, airtight.
The Soviet Union once more is looking at hanging on to that Sabine Cup. Kirai, side out.
Karch delivers. And he yells, "Let's go."
Perspiration flowing freely. Zaitsev sets to Igor, but it's blocked by Salmon.
United States still alive and kicking.
Point again for the United States. Soviet Union has one timeout remaining. They elect to take it. Our score 14-10. Soviet Union on top. Steve Timmons serving for the United States. It is 10 serving 14, and this is the final game of the match for the Sabine Cup in 1986. It also concludes our coverage of the volleyball competition here at these Goodwill games. We gave you 1 week of women's volleyball competition, and now we are in the men's final tournament. Panchenko gets blocked. Panchenko again. Finds the real estate, side out. We are at match point once more for the Soviet Union. Going over to Kirai. The block back is over. The Soviet Union won it.
15-10. Пятую партию и встречу с общим результатом 3-2 выиграла команда Советского Союза.
And this was the play that ended it all. The Soviet Union defeats the United States 15-10 in this final game. Mike O'Hara, your thoughts on how the tide shifted so tremendously from the United States to the Soviet Union?
Well, the Soviet Union did what they've always done better than anyone else in the world. They blocked like crazy, and they hit with power. What a fabulous comeback. 2 games down, backs against the wall. They scrambled back and won the last 3. What more can you ask?
The associate producer of our volleyball competition is Mike Bogad. I'd like to thank our statistician, Rich O'Connor, our spotter, Ryan O'Hara, and our magnificent producer, Terry Rhodes. Once again, the score here from Lenin Central Stadium, smaller arena, the Soviet Union 3, the United States 2.
Well, the story told in the faces of the United States volleyball players about the disappointment losing to the Soviet Union. The United States team had been favored in the game, but it has to be said, the Soviet Union came back with a tremendous come-from-behind win. They were down 2-0 to win 3 straight games and win 3-2. We're now in our final weekend of coverage of the Goodwill Games. We've seen a lot in the past 15 days, been to venues all over the Soviet Union and Spain, and witnessed the performance of thousands of athletes. Naturally, we've begun to look back. We have a regular series of reports on the highlights of the games called Moments of Glory. Here is our look back at track and field. The opening ceremony at these inaugural Goodwill Games introduced us to the pageantry of the Soviet Union. In the same stadium 3 days later, the track and field athletes began to demonstrate to the world that the games were indeed remarkable in their own right. In the field events, Soviet vaulter Sergey Bubka, boyish and yet possessed of a fierceness of spirit, bettered his own world record to 19 feet 8 3/4 inches, a leap that he appeared to make easily. Bubka seemed to work in the absence of all pressure, an athlete pushing against the only barrier left, the barrier from within. He played to the home crowd and dedicated his new record to his son. American Tom Petranoff, a man previously burdened by his own potential and a disappointing 10th place finish in the 1984 Summer Olympics, finally made good on his prowess with a fling of the javelin, winning the gold and silencing his doubters. His was an outstanding series, with every throw exceeding 264 feet. The field was kind to another American, Doug Nordquist, who turned in a personal best of 7 feet 8 inches to win over a star-studded group that included the current world record holder and 3 former world record holders. There was Stefka Kostadinova, the 21-year-old world record holder, winning the women's high jump and bringing glory to Bulgaria. With Carl Lewis pleading injury, the long jump gold was claimed by Robert Emian, who leaped to 28 feet 3 inches to set a new European record. And on the second day of competition, American Jackie Joyner, the 1984 silver medalist, became the first woman to break through the seemingly unreachable 7,000-point barrier. Another specialist whose chief concern was not the other athletes, but the will to achieve. On the track, reputations proved costly as Carl Lewis ran in the afterburn of a speedster from Canada. Ben Johnson defeated him for the second time in 6 weeks, turning in a 9.95, the fastest low-altitude time ever recorded. But Lewis came back to anchor the 4x100 relay, taking the U.S. to the gold, at the moment when the world of track seemed ready to turn away from him. A mother for little more than a year, Evelyn Ashford won the 100 meters by a photo finish over Heike Drexler, the East German world record holder in the long jump and European record holder in the 200-meter dash. It was a stirring moment for Ashford, who declared, "I'm back." Nor was she finished at the Goodwill Games. Ashford anchored the Americans to a gold in the 4x100 relay, outstepping her Soviet counterpart in the final 50 yards. But there was also controversy in track at the Goodwill Games. The arrangement and assignment of heats was a surprise that infuriated some of the competitors, like American Steve Scott, who finished second in his 1,500-meter heat to Igor Lotarev, but had to settle for the bronze when he learned that another Soviet had recorded a faster time against a weaker field in Heat 1. U.S. runner Antonio McKay, positioned in the allegedly weaker first heat, won the gold in the 400 with a time of 44.96. There seemed no end to the confusion for both officials and athletes, but the winners were less concerned. There were other notable American victories. Doug Padilla winning the 5,000 meters with a convincing kick, and Johnny Gray in the 800. Domingos Castro ran away with the 10,000 meters in the final moments of the race, trailed by Gerald Donikowski and Dionisio Castro. It was a good day for brothers and for the country of Portugal. But the single event that confirmed the significance of this competition to the world was the return of Edwin Moses in the 400-meter hurdles. Injury had kept him from the track for nearly 2 years, and when he registered his 111th consecutive career victory here in Moscow, one had the sense that Moses had come back simply to adjust the crown that was already his. There was no doubt. Even after 10 years, the mountain still came to Moses. Track and field gave us the most outstanding competition in the Goodwill Games, and one man, Edwin Moses, gave us something more. The thought that victory may come from the heart, even as the bones grow weary.
What a performance by Edwin Moses. What a great track and field exhibition we had here in Moscow last week. It seems like it was just moments ago, and it was already a week ago. I want to remind you, coming up on Late Night, we'll have Peggy Fleming, and also the Executive Vice President of TBS Sports, Bob Wessler, will be here to talk about the coverage of the Goodwill Games, also some boxing and judo. And tomorrow night, I want to remind you once again that we have that big basketball game, U.S. and Soviet Union from Spain for the gold in the World Championship of Basketball. See you shortly on Late Night.